Peace. Yo, I wanted to add on today's knowledge God, so I just wanted to build about that. When you think about knowledge God, I'm gonna take it to student enrollment, you know what I'm saying, for a lot of y'all that's in those lessons. The first degree we learn, or the knowledge degree, is who is the original man. And it says the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. Now when you go down to the God degree asks the question, how much useful land is used every day by the original man? And it says the original man uses 23 million square miles of useful land every day. Now, look at the knowledge degree. It asks the question, who? The God degree asks the question, how? So what is the relationship between who and how? Well, if you look at it, who is a question of identity. So how you identify yourself and who you see yourself as sets the stage, or is primary to how you're going to function in your life. You know what I'm saying? Look at that degree. It says how much useful land. So it's basically telling you that who you think you are, or who you identify yourself as, sets the stage, or is primary to how you use your mental, emotional, and physical resources. See what I'm saying? Like if you see a person and they identify themselves as, matter of fact, today's a knowledge God degree. So that's the 17th letter in the alphabet. I'm going to build about queens again. If you see a female and she identifies herself as a bitch, and you all know a bitch is a female dog, and that's what her definition of self is, then you can see what type of useful land or kind of resources she's going to not only define, but express, whether it's mentally, emotionally, and physically, based upon who she sees herself as and identifies herself as, which is a bitch. You see what I'm saying? And it's like when you look at the letter Q or queen, there's two different variances of the word queen that you can find in the dictionary. The first word queen is spelled Queen. The other word is spelled Quean. And that subtle distinction changes the whole definition of the word and way it functions. There's some females that identify themselves as a queen, Queen. There's other females who identify themselves as a queen, Quean. And even though they look the same at a glimpse, if I spell the word Queen in a sentence that you were reading, and you just went and skimmed across it, and then I changed that subtle distinction and wrote it Quean, a lot of y'all wouldn't catch it. The same way with a lot of females out here that you may not even be able to distinguish who's who based upon a subtle distinction. But like I said, who a person sees themselves as, or who they identify themselves as, by definition, is always going to manifest how they utilize their useful land, or the mental, emotional, and physical resources. You see? And knowledge God borns build or destroy. So ultimately, when you see if they're doing things constructive or destructive, you can see who they see themselves as, simply based upon that, whether they're doing something constructive or whether they're dealing with something destructive. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, the knowledge degree, or knowledge is the foundation, or that which is primary, or knowledge is also symbolic to the know, it's also symbolic to awareness, and that is the foundation, or what is primary to how. You see? So, the more you sit back and do the knowledge on people, and you see how they're utilizing their mental, emotional, and physical resources, you can see who they see themselves as. And like I said before, there's a lot of people, regardless if they call themselves gods or earths or whatever, who manifest righteousness. You see what I'm saying? Even though they may not say who they are as far as being the true and living God or the true and living earth or something like that, you can see in how they function that they have a primary sense of identity, and they have some degree of awareness of what their essential nature is, because it's manifested in their ways and their actions. They're doing things constructively. They're not doing things as destructive. You see what I'm saying? So even when you're going through like a courtship process and you're building with somebody, you're trying to discover who and what they are, like I said, just do the knowledge on what is manifested from their works, whether they're doing things that's constructive or destructive. And like I said, a lot of times, especially dealing with queens, you can mistake one for the other. The same way you can mistake the word Queen for Quean. And like I said, when you get a chance, look in the dictionary. They have two completely different definitions. One is of a regal class in identity, which is dealing with a higher self image. The other one is not of a regal so-called class, and they're dealing with a lower sense of self-identity. You know what I'm saying? And going back to that knowledge God degree in the 1 to 40s, what's the meaning of civilization? One having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and is not a savage in pursuit of happiness. Like I said, when you look at their ways and actions, and you see if they're being a savage or a person who has lost the knowledge of himself and is living a beast life in their pursuit of happiness, then you can tell who they see themselves as, or what they define themselves as, or what is their identity. You see what I'm saying? And you know, it's kind of like when you think about entering into a relationship with a person and stuff like that, you know, regardless of what you want to see in that relationship or how you want to see that relationship function, you know, it's first and foremost of a major importance to take into consideration what is primary, and that is who they see themselves as. And when it comes to dealing with a queen, that's an original woman. The same way we got that knowledge degree, it says who is original man, they have to be committed to the question and the answer of who is original woman. You know what I'm saying? The original woman is the Asiatic black woman, the co-maker, the co-owner, the cream of the planet Earth, mother of civilization, and queen of the universe. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, she has to be just as committed to that particular identity of who and what she is as you are as a man, or as the original man, or as the Asiatic black man, or as God of the universe and the father of civilization, all of that stuff. She has to see herself as the same exact thing, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to come together and advocate for one common cause, taking that build degree in the 1 to 14s to social means to advocate society of men, a group of men and women for one common cause, and equality meaning being equal in everything. You see what I'm saying? And it's like you can only deal with that and be constructive in that way if you're seeing yourselves on equal plane. You see what I'm saying? And it's like build comes down to understanding power. So when you're dealing with understanding power, like I built about before, is not only the truth, but it's also a force. You see what I'm saying? And you know, dealing with power or dealing with that force, that is the substance that binds you together to be able to manifest a constructive life. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's not truth involved in it, how the fuck could that shit stand? You know what I'm saying? And if she's just dealing with truth, and you as a man are bullshitting, you're gonna constantly feel like she's forcing you to do something. Like I said, power is symbolic to force. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. If you're dealing with truth and she's on some bullshit, then everything that you propose to her, everything you put before her, is gonna feel like you're trying to force her to do something. Nobody should feel like they're forced to do anything. They should just live that out for what it is, because it's the truth. And that's going to stand regardless of whom or what. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to add on about that, you know what I'm saying, and just encourage y'all to, you know, take your time when you're doing the knowledge on things and analyze things, you know what I'm saying, because there can be a subtle distinction that distinguishes a female in particular, you know, from based upon a single letter that you may just skim across, Queen compared to Quean. You know, so it's important to emphasize who a person is, because that is a question of identity. And who, the relationship to how, will always manifest whether they're going to build or destroy. And it's like this: he or her without knowledge of self can't build, only destroy, and take many lives with them. Peace.